past few days in this country. And number two, the opaque importation of certain maize consignment in this country. And I want to distinguish and isolate these twin issues. Number one, Honorable Speaker, whereas it is now common knowledge that there are 10,000 metric tons of maize at the port of Mombasa, the question that goes around, one, is whose consignment is it? Number two, when was tender for importation of this consignment flouted, and who won this tender? Number three, who ordered for this maize to be brought to this country, Madam Speaker? And it is coming at a backdrop of harvesting going on within the Rift Valley and other parts of this country, Honorable Speaker. What would then happen to the farmers in these regions? They just got heavily subsidized fertilizer from the government just the other day, and the fertilizer was meant to cushion farmers against the skyrocketing prices of farm implements. And today, they are harvesting when the same government that should protect them is bringing in food consignment into this country. So whereas we acknowledge that certain times regimes eat their own children, and we have seen them eating them right now in Rift Valley, courtesy of this importation, choices also have consequences, and these are the consequences that we just have now to live with. Honorable Speaker, the GMO has become so discordant, and each and every side of the divide you
What is out of order, Honorable Naomi Wako?
I hope I'll get my minutes, Honorable.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for allowing me to give this point of order. Is it in order when the Honorable Member is just referring to the current government as, you know, the government that is eating its own people? Because what the government is doing is caring for its people, and we know that many people are already suffering because they have no food on their, you know, at homes, and many people have survived on GMO. So I think I'm just asking whether that is in order for him to refer to the government as the government that is eating its own people. Honorable Okello.
The timekeeper, kindly give me those 2 minutes. Well, I was taken aback this afternoon listening to members of Parliament and members of the Senate from the Rift Valley castigating their own government for importing food consignment. So if people from Rift Valley can make that noise in a government that they were dancing to just 2 months ago, what else does it mean if not government eating its own children, Yawa? Or how do we put it? So, Madam Speaker, the GMO, as I said, has become discordant. You know, you hear from scientists who are totally against it. You hear other scientists also are for the GMO. But, you know, trivializing the genetically modified food to buttress the point that instead of people dying hungry, you'd rather give them something that will kill them slowly. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. If our scientists have been part and parcel of a discussion that has, you know, passed a poor verdict on GMO, then as a country we have to go slow. If the Western world is trying to push it into the African market, and that is their intent, whereas you have more people in America, 350 million people, only coming to target 50 million people in Kenya. I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. You look at the element of transportation alone, all the way from the US overseas to Kenya. It doesn't make sense to me. And therefore, any discussion around GMO now, when our farmers are also subjected to some kind of ill treatment, I think should stop. And therefore, the Committee of Agriculture, which I believe will be receiving this report and will carry out some background check, needs to move speedily to put this matter to rest, Madam Speaker. I listened to Waziri, and I have heard people castigating him when he said, Waziri of Trade, my friend Honorable Moses Kuria, when he said, in any event, when you live in Kenya, there are many agents of death, and therefore adding GMO food isn't so bad. So in itself, the government has acknowledged that this is a bad thing. Then why force through our throats something that is already bad and has been declared so by the government? So we need to look at this thing comprehensively. I was very happy yesterday listening to the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, putting this government on notice that this is not the right way to go. And we have to apply brakes where necessary, avoid GMO as much as we can, and let us protect our indigenous seeds and our farmers at the same time. And I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
This chance will go to the Chair of Agriculture Committee, Honorable Mutunga.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice to this motion. Honorable Speaker, I think we are speaking about many things, but the motion is about importation or barring importation of GMOs. Honorable Speaker, I think the first thing I will try to clarify is the difference